This is the story of Sarah, a girl who grew up in the restless heart of a crowded city, a place where streets buzzed with cars, markets echoed with voices, neon lights painted the night sky, and yet, inside her tiny world, everything felt dim and heavy, as if the brightness of the city refused to enter her home. She lived with her family in a one-room apartment, where four walls seemed to press inward with the weight of poverty, the paint peeling, the ceiling cracked, the roof leaking every time rain poured, and the cold winter air creeping in through broken windows that never closed fully. Her father was a good man, but the world seemed cruel to him. He woke up early each morning searching for work, knocking on doors, filling out applications, returning home late at night with the same tired eyes, the same sigh of disappointment, and the same empty pockets. Her mother, with quiet strength, walked miles every evening to clean offices when everyone else was resting, scrubbing floors, washing windows, carrying buckets until her back ached, and returning home long after midnight with only enough money for bread, milk, and a little rice. Sarah grew up in this environment, watching sacrifice replace joy, watching hope shrink inside the tired faces of her parents. And yet, deep in her own chest, a small flame continued to burn, a secret fire that she did not dare to share too loudly with the world. For Sarah carried a dream that most people around her would laugh at if they heard it, a dream that felt too fragile to expose. She wanted to become a writer. She wanted her words to live in books, to travel beyond her city, to touch the hearts of strangers across oceans, to whisper strength to people who felt broken, and to prove that even a poor girl from a forgotten street could carry a voice powerful enough to matter. But dreams are heavy when you are poor, and reality weighs heavier than hope. Each morning, Sarah walked to school in shoes too small for her feet, the soles worn thin, her socks torn at the toes, listening to other children talk about their new sneakers, their vacations at the beach, their parents buying them toys and gadgets she could not even dream of owning. Sarah never responded, never complained, but the sting of difference pressed into her heart like a bruise. And still, she found her escape in one place, the library. After school, while others ran out to play games or sat together at cafes, Sarah walked alone to the quiet library where dusty shelves of books stood taller than her and stories waited like hidden treasures. The library was her paradise. In those aisles, she discovered worlds bigger than her own, voices louder than her own, lives that showed her that suffering was not the end, but a passage. And she would sit between those shelves, open a book, breathe in the smell of paper and ink, and whisper a promise to herself. One day, my words will live here too. But when she dared to share her dream with others, the laughter of the world came crashing down. Teachers smiled at her sadly, their voices carrying pity more than encouragement, telling her to focus on something practical, something safe, something realistic. "Books don't pay bills," one of them said. Relatives scolded her for wasting her time on writing, warning her that dreams were dangerous when survival was already difficult. Even her friends mocked her, rolling their eyes, saying she was naive, foolish, unrealistic. Their doubt hurt her, their laughter pierced her, but instead of extinguishing her flame, it fanned it. If no one else would believe in her, she decided, then she would believe in herself twice as hard. So Sarah began to write in secret. She found an old, tattered notebook, pages yellowed, corners bent, and hid it under her bed as though it was treasure. Late at night, When electricity was cut off once again and the house sat in darkness, she lit a small candle and bent over the pages, scribbling her heart out with ink-stained fingers. She wrote about her pain, about her hunger, about her dreams, about the courage of holding on when the world demands you let go. She wrote until her eyes burned, until her hand cramped, until wax melted down the candle and her mother's footsteps echoed in the hallway. That notebook became her most precious possession, not because of its paper, but because of the voice it carried, the proof that she was alive, the proof that she mattered. But the outside world was merciless. Each time she sent her stories out, rejection came back. Publishers said, "Not good enough." Contest judges didn't even mention her name. Readers ignored her. Silence became her companion. Yet instead of letting rejection kill her, Sarah turned it into fuel. Every no became the reason to push harder. Every rejection became a reminder that success was not about never falling, but about rising one more time, then you fall. She memorized those words and made them her shield. She worked during the day at a diner, carrying plates, scrubbing dishes, wiping tables, smiling at strangers who never knew the girl behind the apron was a dreamer. During her short breaks, she pulled napkins from the counter and scribbled lines, fragments of poems, ideas for stories. At night, she studied grammar and storytelling, teaching herself what no school had the patience to teach her. She sacrificed comfort, sleep, leisure, even her youth, but she never sacrificed her dream. And then, one ordinary day, something extraordinary happened. A small online blog published one of her short stories, just a few paragraphs, just a small corner of the internet. But the response was like fire spreading in the dark. Strangers shared her story across the world. Thousands of people read her words. Messages began to pour into her inbox, people she had never met writing to her, saying, "Your words gave me hope. Your story gave me strength. Your sentences reminded me to believe again." For the first time in her life, Sarah saw proof that her dream was not foolish, that her voice had power. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered to herself, "It's possible." From that day forward, she worked harder than ever. She wrote more stories, submitted more pieces, shared more of herself. Slowly, her voice began to spread. A year later, she scraped together her savings and self-published her first book. It did not sell millions. It did not make her rich. But it reached the right people, the broken, the hopeless, the forgotten, and it gave them light. And that, for Sarah, was enough. Yet even after her small success, doubts came creeping. There were nights she sat staring at the ceiling, wondering if she was good enough, if she was only chasing an illusion, if her dream would crumble like ashes. But every time she felt weak, she remembered the letters from strangers who wrote, "Your words saved me." And those letters became her fuel. She poured her soul into her second book, then her third, then her fourth. Each one carried her further. Each one built a bridge from her struggles to someone else's healing. And finally, years later, she stood on a stage, holding an award for her best-selling novel. The hall was filled with applause. The crowd roared her name, lights blinded her, cameras flashed. But Sarah's mind wandered back, not to the stage, not to the award, but to the nights in her small apartment, writing by candlelight, tears falling on her notebook, believing in her voice when nobody else did. Her journey was proof, undeniable proof, that dreams do not die because people doubt them. They only die if you let go. And Sarah never let go. She showed the world that no matter how small your beginning, No matter how cruel the rejections, no matter how many times you are told not enough, if you hold on, if you fight, if you move even when quitting feels easier, one day your dream will stop being a dream, and it will become your reality. And when that day arrives, the world will not only remember your success, it will remember your courage, your persistence, your refusal to quit. Sarah's life itself became a message written in living ink. Greatness is not given to the privileged. It is earned by the relentless. She proved that rejection is not the end. Rejection is the training ground. She showed that being underestimated is not a curse, but a secret advantage. Because, when the world expects nothing from you, your rise becomes twice as powerful. She transformed her pain into art, and her art into light. And she reminded us all that the dream inside you is not random, not meaningless. It is your calling. If you protect it, nurture it, and fight for it, one day it will not only change your life, but the lives of countless others. Sarah's story is not just about writing. It is about faith, about resilience, about courage, about refusing to let the world decide your limits. And even now, every time a young dreamer picks up her book, every time a broken heart finds her words and feels whole again, her story continues to live, whispering in their ears that no matter how heavy the struggle, no matter how endless the night, no matter how deep the doubt, the morning will come. And when it does, it will shine brighter, because you never gave up.